Welcome to Arthos, where ancient wisdom meets modern understanding. Welcome to the episode 3, The Roar of the Grandsire. Have you ever noticed what happens when someone is secretly terrified of losing a negotiation, a business deal, or an argument? They start talking too much. They start listing their assets. They name drop their connections, flash their titles, and overcomplicate the conversation just to convince themselves that they are in control. 5,000 years ago, the crown prince of the Kauravas was doing the exact same thing. Standing before a war of unprecedented scale, Duryodhana's mind was racing. He looked at the enemy, then looked at his own men, and he couldn't stop talking. He was trying to drown out his own fear with the sound of his own voice. But it took the oldest, wisest man on the battlefield to finally shut him up. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita. This is episode 3, The Roar of the Grandsire. We are moving deeper into the first chapter, Arjuna Vishad Yoga, the yoga of Arjuna's despair. Across these 8 episodes, we are decoding the psychology of a battlefield. And today, we witness the moment the silence of Kurukshetra is finally broken. Let's step into part 1 of today's story, the illusion of numbers. Imagine the scene. Duryodhana has just finished trying to manipulate his teacher, Dronacharya, by pointing out the enemy commander. But his anxiety doesn't let him stop there. His eyes dart across the Pandav army. He starts desperately listing their greatest warriors out loud. From verses 4 to 6, he names them one by one: Duryodhana, Virata, Drupad, Drishtketu. He is hyperfixating on the competition. In the modern world, this is exactly what we do when we obsess over our competitors, our rivals, or the obstacles in front of us. We magnify them in our minds until they look unbeatable. Duryodhana realizes he is making his own army nervous by praising the enemy, so he abruptly shifts gears. Now, let's dive into part 2, the rambling of a terrified mind. To cover his tracks, Duryodhana starts excessively praising his own side. In verses 7 through 11, he says to Dronacharya, "Now hear about the captains of my army. There's you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwathama, all heroes, all ready to lay down their lives for me." Then, he delivers verse 10, a statement dripping with overcompensation. "Aparyaptam tad asmakam balam Bhishma bhirakshatam. Paryaptam TV idam etesham balam Bhima bhirakshatam." In simple language, he declares, our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, protected by Bhima, is limited. He is desperately trying to convince himself. He is essentially reading out his corporate resume on the battlefield. Look at my assets, look at my numbers, look at the great Bhishma who protects me. But the supreme commander of the army, the great Bhishma, is standing right there, listening to this nervous breakdown. Bhishma is the patriarch of the family. He has fought countless wars. He knows what a confident king sounds like, and he knows that Duryodhana is completely falling apart. This brings us to part 3, the grandfather's mercy. What does a wise elder do when a child is throwing a nervous tantrum out of fear? He distracts them. He breaks the cycle of panic. Listen to the very next verse, Shlok 12, where the energy of the entire epic shifts instantly. Tasya sanjanayan harsham kuruvridha pitamha sinhanadam vinadyokai shankham dadhmo pratapavan. Then, the valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the oldest commander Bhishma, roared like a lion and blew his conch shell very loudly, bringing joy to Duryodhana's heart. This is a cinematic masterpiece of a moment. Bhishma doesn't offer empty words of encouragement. He doesn't say, "Don't worry, we will win." He knows the Kauravas are doomed because God himself is on the other side. But out of sheer pity for his terrified great-grandson, Bhishma takes a deep breath and blows his massive conch shell. The sound is deafening. It is a lion's roar that rips through the heavy silence of the battlefield, instantly drowning out Duryodhana's insecure rambling. It snaps the prince out of his anxiety loop and officially declares the start of the Great War. And finally, we arrive at part 4, the roar of reality. In our own lives, we spend so much time acting like Duryodhana. We tally up our bank balances, our degrees, our social media followers, and our job titles, hoping these numbers will protect us from the uncertainties of life. We talk endlessly to hide our insecurities. But eventually, life demands action. We all need that conch shell moment, a harsh, undeniable reality check that cuts through our illusions, silences our overthinking, and forces us to face the battle in front of us. Bhishma's conch shell was the first sound of the Mahabharata war. But every action has a reaction. The Kauravas have sounded their challenge. Now, the other side must answer. In the next episode, Lord Krishna and Arjuna lift their own divine conch shells to their lips. And the sound they produce is so terrifying, it literally shatters the hearts of the Kaurava army. See you in episode 4.